Whitley.
We're back at our set.
We are back.
Not in different parts of the country.
In the penthouse, okay? Because that's what we call our set,
Yeah.
obviously. I mean, for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
We are back in the penthouse. No Zoom. We are back together.
We are, and it feels so good. Zoom was weird.
Yes.
I didn't like it.
It was not fun to, like, not be able to bounce off the vibes of each other.
It's like, because you have to say something, and the next thing, we freeze. And you have to wait.
Oh, my gosh.
So it just
we
kills
trying to figure out how to work Zoom.
Yeah.
Like, it was a whole thing. like what is happening? Like, we became technologically impaired. Okay, there we go.
Just so you guys know, it is midnight right now. Past midnight when we were recording, so.
We are exhausted, okay?
Like we say that every episode.
And we do. But that just go to show y'all, look, we are, day to day is tough, okay? And we're doing what we can to come to you guys and bring y'all some air and wit, okay? We're trying to air out the wit. And sometimes we get aired out in the process.
We do.
Clearly. That being said, it is episode 5. We are 5 weeks in, consistent. Whitley, we are back together again, and it's bittersweet because of our first topic of the show. So what can they expect in this show brought to you by blank? Because obviously somebody will be sponsoring us soon. What can they expect
We
on
hope.
this show? I hope so.
Sponsor us now.
Okay, what can they expect today in today's episode?
Obviously, first and foremost, Warrior season sadly coming to an end.
Mm-hmm.
Brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to touch on the atmosphere, or shall I say lack thereof,
Yeah.
at Chase Center compared to other arenas. We have to talk about that.
Clock it.
And also catastrophic injuries in the playoffs and how that completely alters the outlook of the postseason.
'Cause boy,
I mean,
did
we've
it
been seeing
alter.
it this season. I mean, I feel like every season there's, to a certain extent, but this year it's just been bad.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about that. And we also have some crazy stories that have happened to us while working.
Agreed.
Thank
Wild
you. We had to tell
things.
them a few crazy things.
What the DMs look like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
we on y'all head tonight, okay? Because y'all getting out of hand. Okay? So hopefully you don't get mentioned, but if you do, stop. Okay? So that being said, obviously topic number 1, the Warriors season has officially come to an end after a 5-game series against the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference semifinals. Anthony Edwards, okay. One game, actually, I got a tip from somebody that was in the locker room of the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they were livid after the game 1 win for the Warriors, I'm being told. And I'm being told that a lot was being said amongst the Minnesota Timberwolves at how bad they wanted to obliterate and embarrass the Warriors because of the fact that they did not take too kindly to the Warriors being very happy after their game 1 win on the road in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And then Steph goes down, of course. That's like, losing your main puzzle piece, the piece in the middle of the puzzle, and the puzzle doesn't make sense with that big hole in the middle. That's what it was like when Steph Curry went down with his first ever hamstring injury.
Ever.
At 37, a grade 1 hamstring injury. And was not able to return after he left early in game 1 of that series, which I guess we'll get into this in a little bit, but this is what Draymond Green was talking about after the game 4 win against the Houston Rockets. You play extra games, and that's when you start talking about injury because your body needs to rest. And as we know, it was a quick turnaround between the Rockets matchup 24 hours before the first Minnesota matchup. So it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. And I think what this series has, I don't want to say reminded me because I've always known, but I think, some people who, especially early on in the season, they were starting to say, oh, Steph's showing his age, Steph's washed. I think this is a good reminder to everyone just how good Stephen Curry still is at 37 years old and how valuable he is to this franchise. When this team could not win one game is all they needed. Like he said today in his exit interviews, he was aligned to come back for Game 6. He confirmed that, which just is like a dagger to, to everyone's heart, because it's like, ugh, one win's all they needed. And they brought in Jimmy Butler and playoff Jimmy. You think that he is going to take charge and he's going to lead them to one victory so Steph can come back. But speaking of injuries, Jimmy was injured. He wasn't talking about it, but he was still battling through that injury that he suffered against the Rockets. And it was hindering him. And he didn't want to use it as an excuse. And then also then he got sick. Exactly. And it's, man.
It sucks. I will say that. But I do think that sometimes teams, the playoffs will expose you. And I feel like this is something that could actually be constructive for, it's like risk and reward, because you risk not being able to get back to a championship again because of the age and what we're seeing with the team. But at the same time, the reward from being in a situation like this where Steph goes down and you have Jimmy Butler, who's been an asset for this team since he joined, but it also shows you still have some work to do with building out this roster. You're still missing a peg or two that can really round this team out in the form that it is in, at the age that they are at, and still be a championship contending team. But what does that look like? What does that piece look like? And Draymond Green actually talked about that in the exit interviews. He didn't definitively say that they need size, but for the record, I have been saying for the last 3 years that the Warriors need some size. They need just one big man that will battle on the boards, that's not necessarily looking to score, but is looking to get all the gritty plays around the basket, get the ball back out. Because when you're shooting threes, odds are you're going to miss more than you make. And somebody has to be able to catch those long rebounds, get the ball back out so that you can have one more possession each time down the floor. Or 2 more possessions each time down the floor.
But I do think it's important that they add a big who can shoot.
You think they need to shoot?
They need to stretch the floor. I do think with this team, ideally, they get a big that can do all the things that you said, but they need a big who can, step
I don't
out and
hate
shoot.
that, actually. I don't hate that. I don't
think
hate
that's what they will. And I think that that's what they were hoping. Erin's over here spilling her drink. I don't know if y'all saw that.
Got a hole in my lip, clearly. God damn.
I just completely just missed
like
your
what?
mouth.
Miss my whole mouth. My whole thigh is like
I don't think
soaked
you see
in wine.
Tupac back here, my dog. But
No, his tail is wet. He don't even care. Y'all Tupac back here chilling. Do y'all see him?
He's like,
look, stop. Don't tell these people I'm back here. Let me get back. Okay, I got you. I'm hiding you.
Quentin Post, I think that's, and obviously he's a rookie. He's young, but I think that's what they had hopes that he could do, and he can shoot. A little streaky.
Let me turn around. Let me show these folks some face. Let me get these people some face. But yes, go back.
He needs to be groomed.
He said, "No, let me lick this wine off of your thigh."
Oh my! He loves alcohol. Like, not that I give my dog alcohol by any means. That sounded so bad. But shout out to my friend Ricardo.
Tupac love a cocktail. I'm so done.
I do not give my dog alcohol.
I'm done.
But he has been known to like to lick like beer cans and stuff if they're just sitting there. Obviously, he loves wine.
Smell like it's time for me to turn around, baby. I smell a little liquor.
Real good in
I am done. I cannot wait. Wine ain't
He's
even
definitely
liquor,
my
but you
dog.
get what I'm saying.
If you can't tell, loves his wine, loves his alcohol.
Look, I'm telling you, sit a cocktail down around Kobe.
Kobe will have that down in a minute.
Baby, it'll be gone. You better hold the thing close.
Oh man.
Yeah, but he'll eat anything that's food.
We need to get
very
Kobe
bougie.
here.
We have bougie babies.
We do have bougie babies.
Also speaks to their owners. You got any ideas? Anyways, furthermore, back to the Warriors.
Back to Quentin Post. I think that's what the Warriors were hoping for with him, and I think that maybe they still think that they can turn him into that kind of player because he can shoot. He showed us that. But his hands are weak. He can't hang on to rebounds. He struggles with certain things. And I just feel like now the timeline is getting shorter and shorter for Steph, Dre, Jimmy to win a title. That now's the time that they have to go get a big who can shoot, who can do all these things.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. I could see them getting a scoring big that can get a basket when he's needed.
Yeah, exactly. Not that that's what he's like has to do, but he's a big who can step out and to the perimeter and hit a three every now and then, something like that. That's what I think.
I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, it does suck. It's bittersweet, I should say, because the ringer that your body goes through covering the playoffs is wild. Us as reporters.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, dang, it's so much fun.
It's so much fun. And can you imagine what the players go through? And everyone's like, they make millions of dollars. I'm like, I don't care how much you pay me to see their schedules in the playoffs. And I know how tired I am just from covering the team.
That money can talk.
I don't know.
You get the right masseuse.
I
the
feel like
right
there's still
bed,
a limit,
you know what
though.
I'm saying? You get the right amount of heating pad.
On a plane
You might
that
make
much?
some
I don't
shake.
know. It still has to take a toll.
Give me enough leg room. You know what I'm saying?
You might be right, but I don't know. I just feel like my mental capacity, there's a point where I'm just like,
Agreed.
I'm tired.
No,
and running up
agreed.
and down the floor, like.
Agreed.
I
I
don't know.
agree. I definitely think they definitely are I'm sure, drained.
Yeah.
After playing so hard for so long.
Still like looking.
Look now, you want to do all that, nigga? You got to give me a ring. You gonna have to put a ring on my finger. You trying to get down like that, brother? Okay, so what you doing,
Looking at he's embarrassed.
baby? The Lord is watching, baby. But okay. Clearly, we missed each other.
I know.
Yeah. But okay. So
Okay.
yes.
Oh, yeah, let me get back to my topic.
So yes, the Warriors season is over, but like I said, I do think that this points to the fact that they absolutely have now can see a little bit more. Like now that Jimmy Butler has filled a void, they now know what other voids they need to fill, and those gaps are not as gaping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I do think that is that's a place of optimism for this team.
And that's like what Draymond said. He said the hardest part is over. We went out and got Jimmy Butler this season.
He
now it's
did.
filling in those pieces, and it's everything else that they need to win a title.
Agreed. So I definitely think that yeah, I think I'm actually wanting Pac to stop licking me.
Okay.
He's okay. It's just tickling me, but I got him. Look, I can multitask, baby.
No, just don't do that.
I can
There was wine all over.
I know. I don't know what happened. That wine just dropped right on out the cup and not into my
I'm not
mouth.
gonna lie, right before that I did see you splash.
You did? Speaking of splashing, somebody made a splash.
Which hits?
Somebody made a splash to the bank account.
I thought today was going to be the day I came on here and just aired out the fact that I was so depressed because I had so many misses. Like the past week, I was just taking L after L after L, but they were close ones. Like Brunson sold me yesterday. But today, I finally hit.
Okay.
Were they big hits? No. Could they have been bigger? Yes.
A hit is a hit with
Green beans all taste the same. No, they don't. But this is what I get for trying to be like motivational.
all green beans are not equal. I can tell you that.
Okay. So these are the canned green beans today. They're not fresh. Well, now I'm trying to find them. Okay.
I'm done.
So this one, Prize Picks played me a little bit. Not gonna lie. I was watching the game, and you can do live bets. So like after the game's already started, and you can like see their points or whatever, and you can like bet off that. I put one in real quick, and I did $10. It was supposed to be $100. Apparently, while that was processing or being put in, which takes 2 seconds, one of the projections changed.
Oh.
That went from $10 for $100 to I only won $35.
Man, y'all be rigging
But
people.
you know what? I won,
Excuse
and it
me.
was a win.
Okay, period. A win is a
And
win.
so I won these other ones. This is so confusing, though. I had one bet where I had two, they call it a push. So I had Michael Porter Jr. over 10 points. He got 10 points. So it's a push. So I still got a little bit of money.
Okay.
Jokic, I had him over 29 points. He got to 29 points. So it was another push. I've never had that on one bet.
Oh, okay.
But I still won money.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And then I had another one where I also won some money and I had another push, Jokic. But you know what? I won. I won more money than I put in today, and that is a win.
That is a win.
That is a win.
A win is a win. So we got some hits with.
Yes.
We got some hits. Speaking of hits, we need more in Chase Center. We need more hits in Chase Center.
That's good.
And I am not talking about the team. This is the thing. I'm telling y'all, I'm Memphis through and through. Y'all know that at this point. When it comes to in-game entertainment, just from the fact that I covered the Warriors, and I covered the Grizzlies, there is a stark difference, I feel like.
Huge difference.
Yeah, like I'm not a big concert goer. Found out the hard way that I was claustrophobic. Bryson Tiller, I've never been back to your concert since. Literally was in the front door like gasping for air in the freezing cold. In my little freakum dress, child, please. I was in the freezing cold breathing because I could not stay in the concert. Okay, back to the point. So most of the live acts that I've seen since that Bryson Tiller concert have been at games, if I'm being honest. And the last time I saw Dolph, actually, it was like just short of a year before his passing. The Grizzlies had him come in and perform during the playoffs the year before, which was the year that the Warriors and the Grizzlies met in the semifinals of the Western Conference that year. I believe that was the year. I'm pretty sure, though, it was. And Dolph came and performed. That was the Whoop That Trick year. And Whoop That Trick has now become a part of, like, the identity of the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
And for the people in the back, y'all, that is not 3-6 Mafia. That is Al Capone.
Get it right.
Please. Like, come on.
What are
now.
we doing?
Put some respect on my name. Y'all don't want me calling Future Young Dro. Come on now. Let's not do that. Okay? I don't know if that's a great comparison, but you get what I'm saying.
Every time I think of Future, I think of Duke Dennis.
Why? They actually could be long life
they
brothers. They do look
I'm
alike.
you, yeah.
I think they're okay. I'm gonna leave it. Okay. Good things. Good things.
Yeah, great things.
Yeah. What is wrong with us tonight? Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. When I reach a point of exhaustion, I start getting the giggles where I can't stop laughing.
Quite Delulu right now.
I think it's great content.
Or Delulu, Delirious, whichever one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One of the D's.
Sorry, Chase Center.
So don't get me wrong, I love the acrobatics, but I would also love, because we're in California and this area is littered with acts of talent. So many rappers, so many singers claim the Bay, come to the Bay, are from the Bay. And I just feel like there is like opportunity being left on the table because throughout the season we never get to see these acts like perform at Chase. And
there's just a lack of celebrity presence at Chase Center in general.
Agreed.
Sorry, Pac just is on one tonight.
Yes.
But there's just a lack of celebrity presence and just the atmosphere at Chase Center. When I was at Target Center, for example, Minnesota, nothing against Minnesota whatsoever. Minneapolis, fun city, which I'll get into more later because I had a time randomly on a weeknight. But Target Center, there were just more celebrities there. Like there was, who was it? Rob 49, What the Helly rapper?
What the helly?
What the Helly?
What the
Is it
helly
Rob
on?
49?
What the Halle Berry? And when that song first hit, I was like, why is this on everybody's story? Like, what is happening? I don't know who's rapped the song. I just know the song. Honestly, I just know the chorus.
But he was there, and then Michael Irvin, all the Vikings players.
Wow,
I'm forgetting some people because there are a lot more people there.
Sidebar, I will say the athletes in the area do show up for the Warriors.
They do, yeah.
I see more like Niners come to the Warriors games than I think I would have expected throughout the season.
Yeah.
Like they do show love.
Yeah, they do. They do. But I just even think back, of course, when they were at Oracle, when I was covering them, it was Katie's last season with them. And so that obviously brings a whole bunch of celebrities. But I mean, you saw top tier celebrities. Like Beyonce was there, and
what? They got B to come out.
there was just, it seemed like every single game there was someone there. It's just not like that, and just the energy in general. I just don't know how to explain it. Target Center, the vibe was just incredible. And they do all the sound effects. Like, they have the thing that's specific to their team. Like, they have the wolf sound effect. They have the mascot, and he was, like, always hyping people up. And I honestly undervalued mascots a little bit, I feel like.
I'm gonna be honest, because I love our grizzly bear in Memphis. Because, not me kicking my feet like a child. Because, y'all, I swear my beanbag continues to inflate.
Yeah, that's another story. And mine continues to deflate. And so if you see me just leaning back like this,
and I'm getting higher and higher and higher. Like, my feet will not touch the ground this time. I don't know what's happening. But like, fourth quarter is always so lit in FedEx Forum. Now, I haven't been to a game since I left, since I've been here for 2.5 years in FedEx Forum. But fourth quarter, that break between third quarter and fourth quarter, they start playing some kind of like rock music, and they have this crazy tall ladder.
That's what Target Center, that's what they did. And then he goes all the way to the top, and then he drops like a sign.
Yeah, well, he goes all the way to the top, and he's like slapping the fourth quarter sign, and like everybody's getting lit, and everybody's getting loud and going crazy. And then he'll also, like, they have, wrestling with it has always been a big thing in the city of Memphis, and so they'll have him like up on the terrace level, and they'll be wrestling, and he'll like jump through a table and break the table in half, and like he's like battling another wrestler or whatever. It's just cool. It gets people active and interactive. You get what I'm saying? Like, I even think that there are people that love to watch the mascots do their thing. So I do think that I would love to. But what could the Golden State Warriors? Do they even have have they ever had a Warriors mascot?
Yeah, they have.
Bring them back.
They need something. Because right now, and I think Chase Center is a beautiful venue. Don't get me wrong.
It is beautiful, yeah.
I just think the in-game entertainment, something has to happen. And part of that, let's just be honest, it is the price of tickets. And they have priced out some fans who used to go to Oracle all the time. We just have to be real. Fans, they don't wear their playoff shirts. Like, at Oracle, every single person in that arena had their shirts on.
Well, and I'm gonna be honest with you, because I get a little. Furthermore, I get disappointed in the Golden State fans that show up, because I just kind of feel like sometimes they're disengaged, and I also think that it's crazy that a team can go and win 4 championships in 10 years and be booed. Yeah. And luckily that didn't happen too much this season, or I don't even know if it happened this season at all.
They didn't get booed this season.
But they booed them last season. And I was just like, dang, like, what's up? Like, this is still y'all's team. And don't get me wrong, I've seen them do that at like Madison Square Garden in New York, but that's different. New Yorkers are New Yorkers. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that is their thing. You know what I'm saying? Let them do that. But I feel like you should be loyal to your team. And like, I feel like people that have never played the sport, and I can't say that everybody in the crowd has never played the sport, but you literally, just having been a player, it's like a white noise, but you can feel that noise. Like, everybody around you is a blur. Yeah. But when you hit that shot and the crowd go crazy, it's like some type of rush from tingling from the tip of your toes to the top of your head. Like, it really like does chills. It does. Yeah. It affects the game. And sometimes I'm disappointed in the Warriors fans. I will say, since Jimmy Butler came in and they started winning, the energy has been a lot better. But I'm challenging you guys to be much better next season, because dang, like, it really does affect people. And also, another thing, man, I'm sorry, with my last piece, and maybe I should wait to air y'all out in the air it out segment. I'm gonna need y'all to get some rhythm, because when one side of the arena is saying defense, you don't jump in the middle. It's not defense. It's not that. Yeah. It's defense. Okay, like, those
they can't ever get on the same page.
They never are on the same page. Like, what is that? It bothers me.
I was just gonna say something, but I'm gonna keep that opinion to myself. Not gonna say it.
But all we're asking is that you support this team. Yeah. I think in any city, because I'm not partial to the Warriors, I think in any city, when you have a team, you as a fan, if you're going to show up to the game, you should be, I'm gonna be honest, I actually have an appreciation for the ones that get kind of crazy drunk and loud and reckless. Not when you're being a heckler.
Yeah.
But when you're just like adding to the fun and like the painting on the chest and like the college atmosphere type vibe, like it just changes the feel in an arena. And I want to see that.
The other thing I have an issue with is the fact that Anthony Edwards, when he went off in game 4,
yeah.
It was 4, right? Yeah, game 4. And when he was leaving the court, he was getting an MVP chance. And so I look over and I'm like, oh, there must be a little section of, Timberwolves fans. These fans had on Curry jerseys, everything. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me.
Like, y'all, where is your loyalty?
They're just confused.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Ant is that guy. He that kid.
Oh, he is.
He that kid. But still, y'all came for the Warriors, and they just ended the Warriors season. Like, get right. Do that when you get home. All right. Now, but on the flip side, I will say the Valkyries, they got a fan club. Okay.
Speaking of Minnesota, though, I will say, when I was talking about having a time in Minneapolis, found a nice little karaoke bar on a random what night?
Yeah.
It was good. It was interesting. I liked it. There are parts that it's like, I was not expecting this here. But stumbled into a little karaoke bar on was it a Wednesday night, I think?
First of all, what was your song?
Oh, I had several, but the performance of the night was T-Pain, I'ma buy you a drink. Had all 3 people in that bar standing up. And let me say, that was a tough crowd.
It was a tough crowd. It was
a tough crowd.
I am done.
But T-Pain, you're rolling, man, because you had everyone in there ready to go.
Let's go on tour.
But it was funny because it was myself and a couple of the other reporters, and it was like our own karaoke bar because there was no one in there. So every other time it was us like having to go up and sing. Great time.
I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah.
I've only ever done karaoke once because I'm there once in my life. I've only done karaoke once.
We should go do it soon.
Should we?
Now that we have more time, we actually have lives now.
It's sad though because I swear I get a little
depressed,
liquid courage, and I get up there trying to serenade people with like Mariah Carey and Beyonce.
That sounds good though.
Is it?
I do love Keisha Cole.
I do. I'm not finna do that right now, but
don't tell me you're one to get out there and do the sad songs.
Nah, love songs though. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
No.
Balance, baby. I'm done. I can't.
No, we should do karaoke. That would
we
be
should
fun.
do karaoke.
We were literally just joking about how now we have more time, and so we actually have to force ourselves to actually go out and have a life, so we have stories to tell you all because we don't leave our house.
We just work too much.
We do.
We work too much, and now it's time for us to stick our toe in the social sands.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're ready.
We are
about to be outside all summer 2025.
We might hibernate.
Vacations.
We'll hibernate for a week, and then we're going to be outside. Outside. Okay, so if you see us, act like you don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Act like you don't know who we are.
You ain't never seen us before.
Let us live.
Tune into the pod. Okay, that being said, obviously all fun and games, but it has not been all fun and games for some of the biggest stars around the league. This playoffs go round.
It's just been injury after injury.
Oh my gosh. Donovan Mitchell. He was injured and he was able to play before it was all said and done. But goodness gracious. Jason Tatum. And I think we all were shocked to see Jason Tatum go down the way he went down. We were in the media room in game 4, right before game 4, before the Warriors got to playing. Y'all know I'm country. Started the game. And we all saw Jason Tatum go down.
The media room got completely silent. And it was a busy night that night at Chase Center.
It was.
And everyone was just like, you just knew instantly that it was bad.
It was bad. And you could just tell by him shaking his head, him hitting the ground. He knew. He knew something was up. And he knew he was not coming back from it. And surprisingly, and kind of not surprisingly, because I think it was going into, because where are they in the series? They're in game 7 now. They're going to a game 7, right? Because the Celtics just won.
No, it's game 6. Yeah,
okay. So going into game 6, they were 8-5 without Jason Tatum this year. And and or 8-2 without Jason Tatum this year, I believe. And so is it 8-2 or 8-5? I think it might have been 8-5. I don't know, but they can play without Jason
Oh,
Tatum.
they can, yeah.
But at the same time, like, it does not mean that is not a catastrophic injury to that team and possibly their hopes this year in continuing to pursue a championship.
Yeah, I think that they can win without him. I don't think they can win a championship without him. And Jason Tatum, he has gotten some heat in these playoffs, especially against the Pacers. You know, he's had some rough games, but still, he's Jason Tatum. Like,
and it sucks for him because when they won a championship last year, you could tell. Not that he was mad that Jaylen Brown won it, but he absolutely wanted to. He wants to be able to say he's an MVP as well.
Oh yeah, he does.
And he wanted that to be, you know, he was trying to make sure that he could do that this season. And you know, I don't know that he necessarily would have been even this season, but he absolutely, you know, won't be now because of his circumstances.
And it also, you think about when players suffer an injury like that in the playoffs, they're out for the entire next season. Because, especially an Achilles injury, if you want to be safe, a whole year.
Okay, if y'all listening, NBA players, WNBA players, although I hear about it less happening there, why are y'all snapping y'all Achilles? Is that the word?
Achilles?
Plural. Y'all, plural Achilles in these games. Because it's happening so often. Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, just to name a couple. But I know it's happened more often than just those two. What is it? Is it the low top shoes? I don't know how.
I think it's just circumstance. I just think it's something that you can't.
I just feel like you didn't used to hear about people popping their Achilles as much as we hear about it now.
That's true. But I also, well, I guess, I'm trying to think.
I think it's them shoes.
I guess we did grow up in the social media era, so I use the excuse back in the day. There wasn't, you know, as much social media.
Actually, we are the social media era. Actually, yeah. I don't know, but I just think it happens so often.
It does happen often, and I have a friend just tore her Achilles.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, what is happening? Like, it wasn't even. But I will say, too, especially when this happens, like in the playoffs or late in the season, and I was talking to you about this, the 82-game season.
Baby.
That is a long-ass season.
That's a monster.
And, like, once again, when you're covering it, you
like
see how long it is.
Every couple of days.
Exactly. Or every other day, these back-to-backs.
Yeah.
That's a long season. And then going straight into the postseason where if you are in the play-in, you have the play-in, and you have to, you know, fight your way to even get a position in the playoffs. You get in the playoffs, and you're playing every other day, and you're traveling, you're doing this. It's so much. I just feel like, especially for the quality of the game, Adam Silver, you got to figure something out. Like, I feel like you need to space the games out a little bit. And I know it's all about, I know there are things behind it. I just think the quality of the game, and for viewers, it would be so much better either, you know, if they cut back games during the regular season.
They ain't going to do it because
they won't because of money, I know. Or, but at least the playoffs, if you could just spread it out more. I think just give like people a breather throughout the playoffs, or, you know, between the end of the regular season and the playoffs. I just feel like it might help with a lot of this because I think their bodies get run down, and then they're more prone to injuries. And then also in the playoffs, you're playing through other injuries, which can lead to another injury because you're overcompensating on your other leg of, you know. So just the whole thing.
It's a long season. It's a lot of games. And, of course, we're in the era now where we've gotten away from the load management stuff, or they're continuing to push away from the load management stuff. So it's like they're playing more often. And Jason Tatum was one of those guys that has played. He's played like almost either the most or like second most games I think it's the most games in the NFL since he started in the NBA since he started. I heard that too. Yeah, I did.
There's always something going on outside.
Let me find out they didn't clock the pod. They're like, oh, they're filming. Boo, boo, boo. We see you, Erin Whit.
Not that any of that's funny.
It's actually kind of scary. We probably shouldn't laugh about that. Lord, protect us. But he has played, like, I think it's the most games In the last 4 years, I think, of his career, like, he's played an insane amount of games. I got to look up this stat because it's gonna bother me now, but the amount of games that Jason Tatum, actually, my internet is out. So
What is happening with
I
the
don't
internet?
freaking know. So I can't look it up. But listeners, look it up. Jason Tatum has played an insane amount of games, and I can tell you he's played insanely more than most players in the NBA. Let's put it there. I know that that's factual. Okay, so that being said, speedy recovery, but it's gonna take some time. So maybe not so speedy, but you get what I'm saying. But like we said, catastrophic. It didn't have so far as catastrophic of a impact on the Celtics. We saw that Donovan Mitchell not being able to be available absolutely affected the Cavaliers, as well as Evan Mobley not being able to play, and a couple others. Why am I drawing a blank? Come on, you know Garland.
Garland, yeah.
Also being injured and not being able to play. That kind of stuff really will tear a team apart in the playoffs. And then obviously the big blaring one is Steph Curry not being able to play, and like you said earlier, just being one game away from coming back.
And also, one thing that I meant to bring up earlier that I feel like this is also a point of Steph, when they brought in Jimmy, this roster was built around Steph to help him succeed and hopefully lead him, to the next title. But it became blatantly obvious when Steph's not on the floor, this roster just doesn't work. So it all depends on health. And it completely changed the I've told you, I think the Warriors would have won that series hands down if Steph Curry was playing. Before he got injured, he was getting every shot that he wanted. And I just think that the Wolves would have had a hard time defending him. And then if they did make adjustments where they're defending Steph, that's when Jimmy, the floor, he would have more space and he would go off a game. So it would just balance each other out.
And Buddy and Moses, everyone. I agree. Yeah, everybody.
And so it just completely changed the whole dynamic of that series.
Agree. I think it did. I think it always will, as long as they have the setup that they have right now with this team, which, of course, you want to run it through Steph, but you also want to be able to prepare for circumstances like this year. So we'll have to figure that out. Except I'm not Mike Dunleavy, so he's gonna have to figure that out. But like Draymond Green said, they don't want to be the guy saying, "Oh, we would have won if Steph Curry was, healthy," because they have been on the other side of that, where other teams, Kyrie Irving and a number of other players on their way to a championship, got injured, and that helped them to win those series. So it's tough. It's a tough place to be, if you're covering the Warriors or if you are a Warrior. What else is a tough place to be? When you get those weird messages and you don't know how to respond.
I just don't.
You just don't respond.
I just don't.
But it does freak you out a little bit.
Oh, does it? Does it?
Okay, so obviously story time. Weird DMs. And my story is not a DM, child. I'm taking it to the next level. Stay tuned. Do you want to talk about weird DMs? What's the craziest DM that you've gotten?
I've had so many, and I feel like I'm probably forgetting like the craziest. But the ones that stick out to me the most. I've had a couple. Oh my gosh, you're saying it. You know what? If you have a foot fetish, stay out of my DMs. And don't bring my feet into it. Because I ain't about that. I've literally had guys zoom in on pictures that I post, like on my story or something.
Of your feet?
Take screenshots and send them to me and like saying crazy things like how cute my feet are. Like all this stuff. Yeah.
What is
And so if you don't know, now I'm just going to show you all this, or you can go look at my profile and see it. I very rarely, there's a few of them, but I very rarely post pictures with my feet in it for that reason, because I don't want these men obsessing
scare
over
my
my
girl
feet.
away from
And I
showing
have
her
some cute feet.
toes.
I'm not gonna lie, I do have cute feet. Like that's
Yeah,
I
you
love my
do.
feet. But yes,
That
so,
is crazy.
I try not to post any pictures with my feet.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Zooming in on your feet.
Yes, zooming in on my feet and just saying.
What?
I'm not even gonna say exactly like what
Of
a couple
course.
of comments were, but just stay away from me.
Eh.
I don't get it.
I don't-
Like, I mean, I'm not gonna judge. If you have a foot fetish, that's do what you want to do,
Uh-huh.
but don't bring me into it.
Oh my God, that is crazy.
Yeah.
Not zooming in on the feet, then
I need to think of some more though, because I have had some crazy, and I've also had some like mean, like threatening ones, like where
What?
oh yeah.
What? Okay.
I remember when I first started in the industry, I got some that were like threats.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Mhm.
Like they wanted you and they were threatening you?
A little bit of that, and there's all. I'll tell you some more like off camera.
Okay.
And maybe I'll see what you say before I
We'll put
say
it on the
here.
camera? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if I don't check them correctly or enough to see them. I don't get a lot of crazy DMs. I get a lot of, the normal, like, consistent DMs. Like, oh,
Yeah.
gorgeous, beautiful, 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 beautiful. And I'm like, I haven't responded in a year. Can you stop? You get what I'm saying? Like,
There's a lot of guys in my DMs who've just been there talking to themselves.
you know what I'm saying? They talk to themselves.
Yeah.
But I will say the craziest, me and these feet tonight.
Speaking of feet.
The craziest situations have not been through DM. So obviously I work in television. And I work in news and television, obviously in sports. And so as you guys know, most jails don't play anything cable-wise on the televisions. Usually, from my knowledge, I've never been to jail, but from my knowledge, all jails can play on television is the news.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I've been told. Now, I ain't never been. You know what
I mean,
I'm
that
saying?
makes sense.
So they can only watch the news, right? So I'll just tell a story from when I was in my first market. I was in Tupelo, Mississippi, and there are a lot of
Mississippi. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I worked in Tupelo, Mississippi. That's where I got my start. And there are a lot of prisons and jails in Mississippi. And there are not a lot of news stations, actually. So, and I worked for the #1 news station in northern Mississippi. And so they were watching your girl, which I don't mind. I'm here to keep you informed, okay? But I get to work one day, and my boss is like, she's like, Erin, you got some jail mail. And I'm like, girl, what? Like, what are you talking about? And then it irritated me a little bit because then she steps out of her office like, Erin got some jail mail. Yeah. Girl, hush. Like, what are you talking about? Like, waving the mail around. Like, how do you know? How do you know it's jail mail? It's not even supposed to be open. But furthermore, I didn't get upset about it because sometimes they have to vet stuff. So whatever. And so I take this jail mail home. And honestly, it was a guy that was locked up. And I think he was serving a life sentence. And he was either serving a life sentence or it might as well have been a life sentence, like 80 years or something like that. It was something crazy. And he was explaining his case to me. And at the time I was reporting in news. And so when that was the case, like I thought that he wanted me to like look into his case and investigate his case because he was wrongfully convicted. So I'm reading through it and it's like a 7-page letter. And it's my first little piece of jail mail. So I'm like, all right, let me read it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing to do. I'm off work. So I'm reading through it and kid you not, like I'm reading through it. I'm like, dang, I feel bad for this man. Like they didn't lock him up. He didn't do this. You know, I'm really believing what he's saying. And as I'm reading, I get to the back of page 2. And then he was like, and you know, I always knew we was meant to be together from the first time I saw him.
Nope. Where we draw the line. I don't know what his name is, but that is where we draw the line.
Speaking of names, so he writes out his name, and he writes out David from the Bible, his name, and then he writes out Mary's name, and he writes out, which Mary is Mary, and my name ERIN, 4 letters. He writes out my name under it, and then he has these lines under our names and these numbers of what these letters mean, and then if you add them up, some kind of way it meant that me and him were meant to be.
This
Yo, and I'm like, at this point, I'm intrigued. I'm like, okay, like, what are we even talking about now? We went from your case to now the Bible to now we meant to be together because I let us add up to this. I'm like, what the heck am I looking at? So I'm constantly reading. And then at the end of I eventually I got like tired of reading because it was a lot of writing, you know, and I guess he had a lot of time on his hands. No pun intended. Damn, that was good. My God. Whoa. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. Sorry for that was my deep laugh. Okay. That was a real one. That was a real one. But so damn, Erin, you surprise yourself sometimes.
Don't you love when that
Oh
happens?
yes, yes, yes. That was kind of nice. Okay, so then I'm reading through, and he was like, he ended the letter by telling me how how we needed to meet up. He asked me to, of course, like send him back, like write him back, but like send him a piece of me back to the jail. And he was like, don't forget to add your address and your phone number. And I was like, what? And he sent me like a paper that you fill out where you like can fill out to visit somebody in jail. And I was like,
so you really thought you were going to be his pen pal?
I was scared as hell at that point because I was like, Tupelo ain't but, you know, this big. Mm-hmm. And I work in news, and I was like, because he was like, when I get out, I'm coming to see you, baby. Like, just don't forget to put your address. I don't know. It was either he was in there for life.
Or a possibility of parole, maybe.
Possibility of parole, or it was like a situation where he was in there for a long time, but not life. I can't remember, but I was shook up. I was for 3 months. I kid you not. I would come around my corner in my apartment just to make sure nobody was at my door before I walked around. And that was before I got my dog. But before I walked around to like walk to my door. Because I was a little shook up. I was like, dang, like this man gonna find me. I'm flattered, but I'm fearful at the same time.
That is scary.
Yeah, it was scary. Yeah, but Erin got some jail mail, y'all. So don't
honestly, I'm a little jealous because
really
something about me. I'm kind of intrigued. Also, like prison reform and stuff. Like I'm all into all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But prisons in general and just like the conditions inside the prisons. But I just went down so many rabbit holes of TikTok things. And,
really?
yes, and how like they get the phones inside prisons.
Yes.
And so you get to see like a behind the scenes look.
Yes.
But growing up, fun fact. I don't know if this is a fun fact, but anyways, before I became a sports broadcaster, I went through lots of phases, which we'll get to eventually in story times. But I wanted to be a psychologist, like in a prison. I feel like that would be
wow.
the look of concern on her face. That was the fakest.
Well, this is the thing. I have family members that work in psych.
A prison would be different. Like it'd be, but I just
there you go. Yes.
I just think because I want to get inside, like, which I don't think you ever could, because if you're, you know, a psychopath, like that's just who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're never gonna get the truth out of someone. But I just want to get a look inside their head.
Mind.
Yeah.
I'm a true crime.
Yeah.
I'm a true crime fiend now. I watch every documentary that Netflix drop. So,
But wow, yeah. So I'm a little jealous.
Ooh, excuse me. What is happening tonight? Oh my God.
That's our sign.
Oh my God. That is our sign. I aired myself out just then, okay? That is the air it out segment. We're going to wrap this thing on up. Don't send me no more jail mail. Actually, send Whitley some jail mail. She
Please.
That is a wrap. Oh my gosh. Erin Whitley is back. Cheers to that. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Feel
Lord.
like episode 5, this was an all-timer.
All-timer. Oh, I loved it. All right. Good night, guys.
Okay.
See you next
we need to go to
time.
bed. It is literally like 2 a.m.
Yes, it's done. We're done.